Hurricane Joaquin has left the Bahamas and recovery efforts are now in full mode. Good evening, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis and welcome to the special edition of the Bahamas Tonight. Just hours after Hurricane Joaquin passed through the Bahamas, the National Emergency Management Agency assembled a team. We now join Keishla Adderley for the latest.
Hello there, LaDawn. Assessments and recovery began in earnest today in the aftermath of Hurricane Joaquin, a system which entered the Bahamas on Sunday as a mere tropical depression before escalating to Category 4 strength just 3 days later. Now, we expect to hear momentarily what the itinerary of Prime Minister Perry Christie, members of the Cabinet, executives of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and other members of the team was like today. We can tell you, however, that Prime Minister Christie left the capital around 2 o'clock this afternoon on a Bahamas Air flight to, of course, begin those assessments, get aerial views of what things look like. Now, we have yet to learn, obviously, the full extent of damage, but we have seen some of those harrowing photos which begin to tell the story of destruction. That all clear that everyone was awaiting came at about 9 o'clock this morning. 9 o'clock this morning, the all clear was given to allow those crews to go out and begin to see what the damage is like, and of course how the government and all of the relevant agencies would have to coordinate and respond. Now, here from NEMA, obviously everyone is working here feverishly trying to get the information that's needed to be able to deploy teams and whatever other preparations have to be made to assist those who are in dire need of help on the islands. We can tell you that one of the priority areas has been Long Island, where the flooding is severe, to say the least. But LaDawn, right now it's a waiting game. We are waiting for the Prime Minister and others to arrive here and give the details of what was learned following those assessments today. Back to you.
Now, what we can tell you is the leader of the opposition of the Free National Movement, the Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, is also accompanying the Prime Minister during the assessments. Meanwhile, the latest weather advisory on Hurricane Joaquin stated that some weakening forecasted during the next 48 hours. Our meteorologist Greg Thompson joins us live in the Weather Center to provide us with more information on the all clear and what will happen next. Greg, hello.
Yeah. Hello, Dawn, and good evening, everybody. Of course, we were all concerned about the effects of Hurricane Joaquin, which is now racing northeastwards away from the islands. The 5 p.m. position, latitude 27.0 degrees north, longitude 70.5 degrees west. Max winds bumped up to 150 miles per hour. It's actually up to 155 miles per hour earlier this morning as the all clear signal was given, and that was at 9 a.m. But the system will continue racing towards the northeast and away from us. We do still have a couple of feeder bands just to the east of the islands and another one just to the south of the Turks and Caicos Islands moving across Cuba and Hispaniola. Possibly some of that making its way into the Inagua, Turks and Caicos Islands. So you could see a couple more showers with this system as it continues to pull towards the north and east. Forecast track, Category 4 system right now. It's very strong out there. Fortunate for us, it's moved out of the islands before gaining that 155 mile per hour wind speed. It will degrade into a Category 3 hurricane eventually by tomorrow morning and continue racing towards the north and east. Next, people in the crosshairs is Bermuda. But a lot of damage anticipated with this system. We're waiting to see those reports, as you mentioned, Keishla, earlier, and we will keep our prayers for those people down in the central Bahamas.
Thank you, Greg. Chris Saunders is still on Cat Island and filed this report on what happened earlier today.
Cat Island now in post-hurricane mode, and they have been assessing the island all day. Island Administrator Jackson McIntosh spent most of the morning traversing the island, checking on shelters and residents. Everyone on the island seems to have made it through the impact of Hurricane Joaquin.
Cat Island has been unscathed by Joaquin, unlike some of our family islands, and thank God that we did not get hit directly by the storm. I can say that now Cat Island is now back to a state of normalcy. All of our essential services have been restored, and so we are looking forward to moving on to our normal way of life here.
Almost all of the 9 shelters on the island were used overnight without incident. The one in Port Howe was opened. However, residents in that area decided to hunker down and ride it out. Kevin Brown is the chief counselor in that area.
Believe it or not, most people wanted to, hunker out in their own homes, which was positive. We kept check on them and everything was perfect. They were safe and they were comfortable.
Here in Arthurstown, local government sprung into action quickly as the storm approached and sprung into action even faster as the storm went by. It was a complete community effort to get this community back on track.
What I plan to do is assign different persons to different areas and give them different tasks, like clean up on the streets, and if we need to go to the airport, if we need to assist with the schools, if we need to assist with the clinic, that's what we're going to do.
We've seen very little structural damage here on the island. However, we understand NEMA will still be sending in their team to make their own independent assessment. On Cat Island, Chris Saunders, ZNS Network News.
From Cat Island, we travel to our Charles Fisher to find out about recovery efforts there.
A day after the passage of Hurricane Joaquin here in Eleuthera, they are experiencing their worst conditions so far. These are the worst conditions we have seen so far. First stop was in Tarpon Bay, where water was gushing into the street with seaweed making the roadway very tricky and cautious to pass. In Roxong, same scenario, water gushing into the streets, cars passing at their own risk. We are now at the Glass Window Bridge, where prior to the storm, it was like this. North side was choppy and calm on the south side. Now it has reversed. Still a bit choppy on the south side, but more splashy on the north. Hurricane Joaquin did no damage to structures or trees here in Eleuthera, but as you can see, the seas are acting wicked and boaters are being advised to stay in port until this storm has completely gone out of the area here in Eleuthera. In Eleuthera, for the ZNS News Network, I'm Charles Fisher.
And Ragged Island has not had any electricity or communication for the past 24 hours, but our Vaughn Albury was able to file this report on the storm's impact in that part of the Bahamas.
There is good news and not so good news from Ragged Island. The good news, electricity has been restored island-wide. However, telephone and internet services require more work. 3 BEC personnel from Exuma, Carlton Taylor and cousins Paul and Tavani Albrister arrived in Duncantown aboard a 7-seater Piper Navajo charter flight around 1 p.m. Also on that flight, piloted by Stephen Smith and co-pilot Kenneth Nixon, was BTC's Randy Smith. Working along with BEC's lone Ragged Island employee, Michael Wallace, the BEC team successfully restored power to Duncantown at 5 p.m., bringing much joy to the 60-plus residents of this fishing village. Water supply was also restored. However, telephone service and internet will have to wait another day. That assistance was on the way Saturday as a PTC technician was being flown in from Inagua, which shares the Long Island and Ragged Island submarine cable. However, the charter plane had to return to Matthew Town due to technical issues. That technician is expected to repair the cable on Sunday, reconnecting Ragged Island to the rest of the Bahamas and the world. Meanwhile, even though electricity was restored late Saturday afternoon, thousands of pounds of refrigerated crawfish, grouper and fillet fish was taken to the freezer on the mailboat to Captain C for storage and export to fish houses and fishermen in Nassau. The catch, worth tens of thousands of dollars, was at risk of spoilage due to the long power outage. So Ragged Islanders had part of their issues addressed on Saturday and will now just have to wait a little longer to use telephone, cell phones, and the internet to reconnect with loved ones and family. From Ragged Island, I am Vaughn Albury, ZNS Network News.
Now, we want to remind you again that we are awaiting to provide you live coverage of a national press conference from a tour of the southern islands, including devastated Long Island, conducted by the National Emergency Management Agency earlier today. That tour included Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie and opposition Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis. Stay tuned to the Bahamas Tonight returns right after this.